Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's the most overrated, healthy habit that people push on everyone, but you think is total BS and why? Detox anything. Your liver and kidneys do that. The powder you're dumping into a smoothie is essentially just a laxative. The real detox is taking drugs and alcohol out of your diet and doing nothing. Exactly. No drugs, no alcohol, no smoking. Lots of water, healthy vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, some good quality protein source, regular movement and sunlight. That's about it. Forcing everyone to be morning people. I am a morning person. I love getting up early and getting a lot done. I do not like non-morning people being forced to be up and doing stuff during that time. It's not fair to them and it's annoying to me and my fellow morning people. It is absurd to assume people are irresponsible if they aren't up and functional early in the morning. You are the first individual who I have seen who is a morning person and is empathetic towards night owls. Most that I have met are either neutral or downright hateful. Have a virtual hug from me for being an understanding individual, thank you. I am a morning person who used to be very judgy about non-morning people until I lived with my husband, who is a committed night person. I was totally wrong. It sucks for him that his being basically useless at 7 AM is lazy, while my being basically useless at 10 PM is good sleep hygiene. It's out of his control. He's been this way since he was a child, and it's probably genetic as his mom is the same way. It absolutely doesn't mean that his work ethic is any less than mine. I once spoke to a morning person who seemed to think he got more done than me because he was doing stuff early in the morning. Dude, what do you think I'm doing at night? It's like it didn't occur to him that I wasn't going to bed at the same time as him. He was just so fixated on the idea that I got up later than him. It's not fair to them and it's annoying to me and my fellow morning people. You don't enjoy our daily zombie plague simulation. I was at a presentation on health misinformation by Timothy Caulfield where he said 80% of the health content on TikTok is wrong and a fair chunk actually dangerous to follow. Including but not limited to every word out of Gwyneth Paltrow's mouth. Gwyneth Paltrow is a perfect reverse barometer of what not to do. Do not put your head in a box. I once had a Riker massage. I didn't know what I had signed up for. I was pregnant and a friend told me it was gentle. The practitioner hovered her hands over my body for 45 minutes, then charged me $100. When I asked about the massage part, she said that it was clear that I didn't want to be touched. Tears of joy Berkeley, I love you, but this was a bridge too far. Well, your friend was technically correct, ha ha ha. Ha ha, she was. And so was the practitioner. After about 30 minutes of hovering, I indeed just wanted to leave. Detoxes. My aunt has recently gone into what my family suspects is psychosis, and one of her main things right now is that everything is caused by parasites, and you need to detox yourself every single day. It depresses me how many health influencers post things in support of her deeply unhealthy habits that just further her descent into unintentional self-harm, along with harming her child, and convincing her husband her choices are safe. Meanwhile, her husband was recently bedridden due to a severe gum infection that they all just completely ignored. I detox daily. It's so healthy. And it's even really easy. I use my liver and kidneys. And sweating. And lungs. And pooping. And hydrating. You're detoxing virtually all day long. Smiling face. I know a woman who has been seeing a naturopath for years. The last few years she has had a ton of trouble with her guts, etc. And the naturopath has been having her do parasite cleanses. Turns out she has stage 4 colorectal cancer. I can't help but think if she had gone to a doctor instead of doing a parasite cleanses, it would have been caught much sooner. I worked for a small country cafe owned by a man, red, scumbag, who sold gallons of Kangen, alkaline, water out the back of the kitchen, and was always pushing folks to buy the machine that makes the water. I watched him try to convince a friend that went to his church who had recently been diagnosed with colon cancer to stop his treatment regimen and buy a machine, telling him that the water cured his skin cancer. He literally had a band-aid on his ear from where he cut off a lesion with a pair of cuticle clippers earlier that day. I was fucking seething. Half of these trendy health habits are just capitalism in yoga pants. If it needs a $40 powder or an Instagram reel to explain, odds are it's marketing, not medicine. Eat decently, sleep, move your body, and stop giving your paycheck to people selling celery as salvation. Celery is too cheap. Stop giving your paycheck to people selling collagen, acai, personalized vitamins as salvation. My version, admittedly, is less pithy. Waking up early. It is true that night owls, in general, tend to suffer from health problems, but the cause is not the timing of sleep itself, it's societal expectations. If you go to bed at 2 AM but need to start working at 9 AM, of course that's going to be unhealthy. However, if you have the privilege of not having to wake up at a given time, there is nothing inherently unhealthy about having an evening chronotype. In fact, if you do have an evening chronotype, you will get higher quality sleep by going to bed and waking up late rather than forcing yourself to be a morning person. The problem is that society is heavily biased for morning chronotypes, and night owls are seen as lazy. But having a split of morning-evening people is literally in our genes. Our ancestors needed someone to stay up at night to watch out for predators. Also, a rule of thumb, if you need an alarm to wake up, you are not getting enough sleep. Edit, this has blown up, also thanks for the award. I won't be able to respond to all comments, but I read a few and I have a few thoughts I wanted to add. First, it's really, really hard to study what's healthy in the long term for humans. This is true about anything. We can't possibly get the amount of evidence we would get from randomized controlled trials, simply because those studies are not possible in contexts like these. Yes, studies tend to show that night owls have generally worse health outcomes than early birds. Night owls tend to suffer more from depression, have higher cardiovascular risk, and a lot of other scary stuff. And guess what? Night owls are also more sleep deprived. Society is designed for early birds. I feel extremely lucky because I have no kids or major responsibilities, and I work at a time zone different than mine, which makes me the lucky exception that can perform well while waking up at noon without an alarm. I am aware that most people don't have the same privilege and suffer as a consequence. I am not saying, go to sleep at 2 a.m. if you are a night owl and don't worry about it. If you have to wake up at 7 a.m., that would be extremely dumb. All I'm saying is that, if you have the freedom to wake up whenever you want and you're a night owl, you don't have to worry about going to bed early and waking up early. Some of you pointed out that there are other benefits to waking up early, e.g. syncing our circadian rhythm with the sun. I don't think we have enough evidence to say that we have to wake up at a given time to get benefits from sunlight exposure. The sun will still be up when you wake up, but hypothetically, let's say that the optimal waking time is, say, 6 a.m. I would still argue that it's better to sync your bedtime with your chronotype, because health effects from low sleep quality likely far outweigh whatever benefits we get from syncing with sunlight exposure. Yes, many of us are jet-lagged because of screens. Yes, one of the healthiest things you can do for your sleep health is limiting screen time before bed. Maybe it turns out you are not a night owl, great. That said, chronotypes are real. If you tried everything and still feel tired trying to force yourself to be a morning person, and you have the flexibility of not having to wake up early, then just go to bed late and wake up late, it probably won't harm you. Finally, a point on the alarm thing, some of you said that you can't possibly wake up without an alarm. That's exactly the point, your body is begging for more sleep. If your body wants to sleep 12 hours, it's probably because it's still catching up with chronic sleep deprivation. Do you think our ancestors needed an alarm? If your body doesn't wake up naturally, it's because it didn't finish its job. That said, this is a very complex subject we know very little about. My rule of thumb is that, if I feel great, maybe I'm doing something right. If I feel like crap, maybe there's something I need to change. Edit 2, I'll make a small correction, there may indeed be some additional benefits of getting sunlight as early as possible rather than later in the morning. But I'll still stand by my point for 2 reasons. First, these are mostly mechanistic findings that are not validated in controlled trials or even epidemiological studies that I'm aware of. Which brings me to my second point, if the price of getting that early sunlight is sleeping less, or trying to match a chronotype that is not optimal for you, then it's not worth it in the broader context, as the benefits of the early sunlight are more than negated by the detriments of lower sleep quantity. That said, if you are a night owl, go to bed late, wake up late, get enough sleep, and feel like crap, do investigate. But if you otherwise feel fine, your productivity is fine, your blood work is fine, etc., then just keep doing whatever you are doing. But having a split of morning-evening people is literally in our genes, our ancestors needed someone to stay up at night to watch out for predators. This is indeed very interesting take, I never thought of it like that. I am a night owl, I can be productive until late hours, but I am not functioning before 7 a.m. Funny, my dad always said, getting up early is something you'll get used to, and I never did, while my father was up 6 a.m., even on the weekend, since he was teens. This is simply genes and I think forcing it is just wrong. I've started waking up at 5 a.m. Not by choice, it just happens. It sucks. I'm done as a useful person by 9 p.m. One thing I didn't see on any of the comments, MSG. Everyone says to stay away from MSG, but it's literally found in most of the produce and foods we have. All it is a flavor enhancer. I'll take any downvotes please. There is a super funny video on MSG where these people came in for an experiment and they told them to eat the Chinese food lunch as they were monitoring MSG effects on people after a large meal. So many people raising their hands, talking about the MSG side effects, swelling, headache, nausea, etc. Then of course the hosts dropped the bomb that none of this food, in fact, had any MSG at all. And it was all organic foods, fresh prepared. People in the audience got pissed. It was hilarious. Myself and my wife are with you. People will say it gives them a headache, then you tell them all the foods on our grocery store shelves that contain it and they look wide-eyed. I like to play along with them. Oh man, your MSG sensitivity must really suck. I'd hate to have to give up mushrooms and tomatoes. Quote. Juicing, just eat the fruit and get the fiber. Question mark. On the note of juicing, can I mention a pet peeve? People referring to a smoothie as juice. I got the whole fiber in my smoothie because it's just blended fruits. I did not juice them and remove any fiber. That's all. I'm a smoothie lover, so I get offended when smoothies get looped into the juice category.